you are taking picture of everybody that walks in?
Tell them the story.
That's very good.
Now, because now the Delta State, the boy the woman talking now Delta State. Delta State on November. I don't know one of federal representative over Putoja here, AGC Nigeria. Yeah, I do about Naro. We're calling people in the diaspora for the federal government.
This woman allowed me to do Orji has a capano. Now they are state with work. I'm a pregnant and what they say. I'm a panoja. More deal to a candidate. I am another man.
Mother said in the World People Congress, okay, do no ma. Memonu, I have Halama, Halangana. Ndechwa Bala, Executive Governor Longa, Nde Longa, Nde National Assembly.
All protocol observed. Distinguished consular officer. This is a presentation, official presentation by Governor Team of Enugu State. Office of the Governor of Enugu State of Nigeria.
Really need your rapt attention. His Excellency has graced this great occasion of ours with his distinguished presence. The least we can do is listen to him. Because His Excellency.
Igbo mamanu, Igbo kwenu, Igbo kwenu, kwezonu. Ya bụrụ na ọ ga-arị dị mbe, ihe anyị na-aga ikwu na abalị anyị ga-aga ikwu n'Igbo. Maọbụ biko, unu bamiti anyị ka anyị sụọ bekee. The representatives of the governors of Igbo and Enugu states that are here, Your Excellency, the wife of the governor of Abia State, remember, representing Igbo Umuahia in the Federal House of Representatives, my brother, Honorable Stanley Ohajeroka, the chairman, World Igbo Congress, and his executive members, members of Abia State Legislative and Executive Councils who are here, special advisors and special assistants, local government chairmen that are here, Your Royal Majesties and Highnesses, captains of industries, distinguished delegates of World Igbo Congress 2008, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my good pleasure to stand before you all, my beloved brothers and sisters in Igbo today, to address you on the occasion of the 2008 Convention of the World Igbo Congress. I bring you all the best wishes of the government and good people of Abia State, God's own state, whose support and backing has enabled me to stand before you today to address you in the capacity of the governor of that state. That is a position I consider a great privilege, and I give glory to God for His grace and mercies upon my life, my family, and upon the lives of the wonderful people of Abia State, and all those who have supported us from the day we assumed office till today. The first issue I would like to tackle at this auspicious gathering is the essence of the gathering itself. I have often asked myself why Igbos have to hold their convention in the United States of America, and why delegates have to travel all the way to America to attend the convention. I would like to answer that question by commending the initiators of the World Igbo Congress and the idea of this annual gathering. The Labor Day weekend annually is the opportunity to come together as a city in America to reconnect with their roots, reaffirm their love and support for their country, and feel firsthand the electrifying indomitability of the spirit of the Igbo man. A long time ago, most of you arrived in the United States on the search of the Golden Fleece. For some of you, the search is still ongoing. For a great majority of you, you have found your calling and you are contributing your own quota to globalization and the advancement of our sole purpose on earth. That is, quest for life, liberty, and a reasonable degree of happiness. I am aware that pursuit can be somewhat tasking. I am also aware that for many of you, it has not been easy. But you have made the best of an otherwise difficult situation, and that is why I am in full support of this effort by the World Igbo Congress to bring you all together annually to reconnect with the undeniable energy that binds us all together, and that is the resilience of the Igbo man. For us leaders of the Igbo nation in Nigeria, we cannot reasonably ignore what goes on among the Igbo community in diaspora. First, I believe we owe it to you to keep reminding you of the need to think home always. Second is that we all owe it to our children, especially those of you here, to remind them that even though they have come to view America as their home, that their ancestral road is still an Igbo. They are Igbos, and we look forward to creating a society where it will be easy for them to adapt when they return. I made a statement at the World Igbo Convention in 2007 in Detroit, Michigan, and I wish to reiterate it in Tampa, Florida. While I offer my unconditional support and backing to the activities and objectives of the World Igbo Congress, I will not subscribe to a system where every World Igbo Congress deliberation remains just deliberations. I once again wish to charge the conveners of World Igbo Congress to come up with a modality for the feasible implementation of resolutions reached at World Igbo Congress conventions so that we do not end up holding annual jamborees. I have carefully noted the theme of this year's convention, which is Makodini Hundibo, which is a commendable progression from last year's Makodemma Adibo. I am also proud to stand before you to tell you that there is nothing occupying the hearts of the present leadership of Igbo land other than the progress of the Igbo nation. The degree of cooperation and brotherhood that currently exists between the governors of the Southeast region has perhaps never been witnessed in the zone before. Now more than ever before, there is a burning passion among the governors of the Southeast zone to collectively claim the legitimate entitlements due to the region. As some of you may have read in the papers, about 2 weeks ago, all the 5 governors of the Southeast zone met with the President Yaradua, to demand that our zone be given those things which it rightfully deserves, but which it does not have. I urge you all to join me in thanking my brother governors, especially the chairman of the Governors Forum, the governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi. He was the person who galvanized the forum into greater relevance. At that meeting where we met the president gave us full audience. We spoke as the custodians of the wills of the people of the Southeast, and requested him to look into the problems of the region. We are in the immediate proximity of the nation's oil-producing region, yet the most expensive place to buy petroleum products in Nigeria is the southeast geopolitical zone. This is because even though we have two fuel depots in the southeast, one at Osisioma near Abia in Abia State, and another one at Enugu, none of them is functional, which makes petroleum marketers in the southeast to travel as far as Lagos to bring in petroleum products for sale in the region. We asked for the commencement of work on the rehabilitation of the fuel depots in the southeast region and the construction of more to enable our people to buy fuel at the nationally recommended price. We also raised issues of the deplorable state of roads in the southeast, the near collapse of the second Niger Bridge, the absence of key federal establishments in the zone, and the lack of key functional utilities in the zone. Perhaps the most important demand we made on the President was the need for the creation of an additional state in the southeast zone to bring it at par. To bring it at par with the other zones, some of which have as much as 7 states. A key component of our meeting with the President is that for the first time, all the governors of the southeast region collectively harmonized the needs of the region and made a collective request. That, I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, is the new spirit with which we are operating in the southeast zone. And I wish that spirit will galvanize in this place. It is also worthy of note that on Wednesday, June 25, 2008, lawmakers from the southeast zone in the House of Representatives held a joint press conference where they called on the President to look into the problems militating against the development of the southeast region. If you view these requests together, you will realize that there is a concerted effort by the current crop of leaders of the southeast zone to rise to the challenge of providing meaningful leadership to the zone. There is now an unwritten resolve among the leaders of the southeast zone to move away from the politics of the past, which was based on blame and recriminations, to a more pragmatic approach centered on finding solutions to the problems bedeviling the zone. Let me also announce to you that in President Yaradua, we currently have a humane and listening president. I assure you that for the duration of our meeting with Mr. President, he was plain, honest, and open with us. He promised to attend to most of our He promised to attend to most of our requests while telling us instantly the ones he could not tackle and the circumstances militating against the realization of some of our objectives. My father once told me a story about a farmer who was going to the farm in the morning, and on the way, he met a small boy crying. On inquiry, the boy said his father beat him, and that was why he was crying. The farmer consoled him and went on his way. While returning from the farm later in the evening, the farmer met the same boy, still crying, and inquired again, "What is the problem with you?" Again, the boy said he was beaten by his father. The farmer asked if it was the beating he received in the morning that he was still crying, or whether it was another beating which he received. And the boy responded that it was indeed the beating of the morning that he was still crying about. The farmer then got angry and chastised the boy for displaying undue weakness and told him point blank that he was not going to get any further sympathy from anyone else. In so many ways, the Igbo nation is collectively behaving like that young man in my father's story. It is true that we fought a very gruesome war for which we were made to pay huge prices. In the aftermath of the war, we cried and elicited a lot of sympathy the world over for our plight. Unfortunately, 38 years after the war, we are still crying as a result of the effects of that war. and people are honestly beginning to get fed up with us. Now the question is, for how long are we going to continue blaming all the wars in the southeast on the civil war which we fought? Agreed, the zone suffered untold devastation and hardship as a result of the war. But the question is, should we still be sulking about the war? These are fundamental questions which I believe are at the heart of the current negative mindset of the Igbo man today. It is my humble submission that Ali Igbo, as soon as we begin to think of the possibilities open to us to succeed, instead of the excuses rationalizing why we are not succeeding. A fundamental question I would like to ask is, if the Igbo nation possesses the men, do we possess the men and materials to turn the fortunes of the region around? If the answer to this question is yes, then why are we acting like a people without a future? The tragedy of our advancement as a people, especially in the context of national development, is the absence of the usual indomitable spirit of the Igbo man that has seen us through very painful and difficult times. As far as I'm concerned, there is no justification whatsoever for the present worrisome state of affairs in the entire Igbo-speaking region of Nigeria. Agreed, the unfortunate civil war set our people several years back, but beneath the ashes of our misfortune lay our strength. We are not the first people to pass through the brutal twist of fate. The Jews went through a deadly Holocaust, but lived to tell the story. They did not allow their sad past to weigh them down. Rather, they have risen from the ashes to reassert themselves more forcefully in the global affairs. Today, they control the economy of America and the UK. The same is true of the Chinese, the Indians, and indeed most Asian countries. China and India have suddenly become two economies the world must watch. Before now, many had thought it would take a longer time for China and India to get to where America is today. But they are mistaken. China and India have almost equaled America as an economic superpower. The Chinese present an interesting picture. Look at this. In the early 70s, there was only one skyscraper in the whole of Shanghai. Today, it has close to 1,000 of skyscrapers. The Indians invented the number system. They taught us how to count. Algebra, calculus, and trigonometry had their origin from India. What is then the secret of the success story of the Jews, Chinese, and Indians? The answer is simply their industry and discipline. The problem we have had over the years was our inability to spot the opportunities that have come our way. Igbos were in the forefront of the social and economic life of Nigeria until the war broke out. With the war came increased mutual mistrust, division, hate, and clannishness amongst us. The result of all these is self-destructive inclinations and greater exposure to exploitation by other tribal groups in Nigeria. The sudden loss of our collective heritage as a people is responsible for the cries of marginalization coming from every nook and cranny of Igbo land. I have never believed that crying to high heavens will solve our problems. The only thing that can enhance our collective world is to reinvent ourselves by redesigning our strategies and reintegrating ourselves more resolutely into the Nigerian project. Ostracizing ourselves from what is happening in the rest of Nigeria is not a good strategy. After all, the complexity and heterogeneousness of our social system make it imperative for us to play deeper into the inner processes of power in order to remove whatever fears or suspicion other tribes may have about us. I must confess that I am elated at the new opportunities available to us to rewrite the checkered history of our race. It is for this reason that this focus of this year's General Assembly becomes auspicious. The four dimensions exposed by the theme of our discussion, power generation, economic development, Partnerships and investments in financial infrastructural development are the key drivers of the ongoing global economic realignment. The 4 items above have been carefully selected to serve as a plank on which the new economic vision of the World Igbo Congress will be promoted and advanced. Indeed, the conditions of living among our people in Igbo land have degenerated to a terrible, precarious level, making our gathering today more relevant. Our ability to actualize the lofty targets we have set for ourselves at this conference is therefore of increasing significance. The issue of power supply presents in recent times. Although electric power supply has become a national malaise, the impact is life-threatening all over Igbo-speaking parts of Nigeria, particularly in Abia State, there in Umuahia, the state capital, where the dedicated 132/133 kVA power substation is yet to come on stream. I regret to state that Umuahia is the only state capital in Nigeria that is still to receive this facility, as it is the policy of the federal government to install a substation in every new state capital. We are still hopeful that this project will be realized soonest. Across the country, it has been one tale after another of mishaps caused by lack of steady power supply. It is painful that Nigeria, which should be playing among the top nations in the area of power supply, has been rendered nearly inconsequential by the non-existence of our energy sector. At the inception of the last civilian administration, power generation across the country hovered between 5,000 and 6,000 megawatts. Sadly, by the time the administration served out this tenure, the figure had gone down to an abysmal level of between 2,500 megawatts and 3,000, in spite of the huge resources expended on the various power projects all over the country. The situation is worse in Abia State, where we run on generators for close to 1 week without electricity from the national grid. This has affected artisans and many small businesses that depend on electricity for their operations. There is, however, cause for optimism as the administration of President Yaradua has put several measures in place to considerably shore up our power generation capabilities. It was in recognition of the persistent cries for succor by our people that the Abia State government embarked on a partnership with Geometric Power Company, operated by an illustrious son of Igbo land, Professor Bat Nnaji, to build a gas-powered electricity station in the commercial city of Abia. It is worthy to mention that this true great Igbo man, Professor Nnaji, like the World Bank, recognizes the huge industrial potentials of Abia and decided to contribute to the development of the city by siting the gas-powered electricity plant in Abia, aimed at providing power to Abia and its environs, including Nnewi, Owerri, Onitsha, and other commercial cities in Igbo land when fully operational. Excellency, you are welcome. All things being equal, the running of this project is expected to start by April 2009 and full operation shortly thereafter. The Abia State government has thrown its full weight behind the realization of this project, and on time too. This is the type of investment and contributions we expect from Igbo in diaspora to make Ordinary Igbo a success. May I therefore, on behalf of the government and people of Abia State, once again specially thank Professor Barton Nnaji for the honor done to our state by citing this project in Abia, and wish him Godspeed as he strives to develop this project. I cannot fail to emphasize that Whatever we are planning as a way out of our present economic woes that does not include steady power generation and distribution will amount to an exercise in futility. Power is the epicenter of all economic permutations. Around it revolve all other economic indices relevant to speedy growth and development. We must learn from the experiences of other people of the world. Take, for instance, Pakistan. At present, it generates nearly 17,000 megawatts of electricity to sustain its economy. If Pakistan could achieve this feat, it then means Nigeria can do better if we reorient ourselves and treat Nigeria with greater love, patriotism, and respect. The truth of the matter is that the Igbo states have the capacity and capability of turning around our present economic woes into a good lesson for our people. We have boundless leverage to play into the big league of industrialized states in Nigeria, if not Africa. If we can harness our bountifully rich human and material resources, I can state without any fear of contradiction that Igbos account for over a quarter of Nigeria's 140 million people. Yet, we have failed to maximize the opportunities available to us to make a change. We have the best brains scattered across the globe and working for the development of the places where they reside. What are such people doing for the survival of the incoming generation of Igbos? I have read of recent the new consciousness about investment among Igbos, especially those in the diaspora. Before this new awareness, it was very tedious to convince some of our people to invest in such things as stock. I was therefore glad when my friend Dr. Ken Asagura, who resides in Canada, came home last year and told me that part of his mission was to invest in the public offer being run by Zen Bank. I'm also glad to report to the good doctor that within a year, the stock he bought has appreciated by 62%. My dear brethren, do not believe all the doomsday stories you hear. Take the trouble to come home and perhaps you will learn the truth yourself instead of relying on jaundice side talks. Today, the investment fever has caught up with us with a striking propensity. It is therefore surprising that the vibrant stock exchange is headed by somebody from our Igbo-speaking area. Her contribution to the development of the Nigerian Stock Exchange are a clear indication of the latent and visible attributes of the Igbos. A simple evaluation shows that Igbos have enormous wealth scattered across the globe, from Nigeria to Asia, and from Europe to America. Igbos have shown a huge muscle and tenacity for investment. Even their pedigree in scientific discoveries and inventions is legendary. From a report I read a few months ago, it is believed that the Igbo nation is worth over $100 billion in both local and international currencies. In the southwest of Nigeria alone, Igbos can boast of amazing assets. This is the situation in places such as Palogu, Ladipo, and the Dumuta markets in Lagos, Kano, Ibadan, and in fact, the entire northern zone. Let me then ask you this question. What would have happened if all these investments were to be located in Igbo land? I have asked this question because of the compelling need for our people to think home. In my address here last year, I appealed to well-meaning Igbos, especially those in the diaspora, to think home. There's no better time to do this than now. We need to seize the opportunity offered by the trust of this year's Congress with both hands to see how we can attract laudable investment to Igbo land. We have the capacity to do that. Probably what we lack is the willpower. I know many of you here may be afraid to bring home your investment for fear of insecurity. But I stand here to tell you there's nothing to worry about. Igbo land is as safe as the United States, if not safer. exciting stories you read in the media about happenings back home are not a true reflection of the situation on ground. They are nothing short of jaundiced accounts manipulated to instill fear in the minds of the people in order to profit the sponsors of the stories. That's the simple truth about it. Interestingly, most of our people living in foreign lands enjoy immense goodwill among their hosts. They can exploit this goodwill to convince their foreign associates to come and invest in Igbo land. There are billions of dollars, pounds and euros lying idle in the hands of wealthy Igbo sons and daughters abroad. It will do us more benefits if the money is repatriated home and reinvested in profitable ventures for the good of our people. We must emulate the Jews, the Russians and the Asians, and the Chinese who work abroad and still take home all they have made. According to a recent survey, resources available in Igbo land, if properly harnessed, can take care of all our needs. Abia and Imo have parts of Anambra states have oil in commercial quantities. Enugu state has coal. This is aside the large numbers of cash crops and rich mineral deposits that abound all over the southeast. The inability to exploit these resources is largely responsible for economic backwardness. I know some of you will argue that the governments of the region should develop these resources for commercial purposes, but I beg to differ. I am a staunch advocate of the theory that governments have no business running business. The business of government is to provide a conducive environment for trade and investment to thrive and provide a very free security guarantee for people to come and invest. That we are doing in Abia State and other states of the southeast, and I assure you that we are achieving great results. In Abia State, we are relocating the Umuahia main market from its current location in the city center to a more conducive location. When the market is relocated, investors will find a prime piece of land to set up other ventures. We are also building a modern state secretariat. Imo State has their own secretariat, but we are building out. When the secretariat is completed, all ministries, departments and agencies currently operating from various complexes and locations in the city center will relocate to the new secretariat. Again, the properties that this will leave behind will provide veritable prime location for investment. We have purchased brand new buses and cars to serve as intra-city transportation means for our people, so that Abia State will generally be like most developed states. Let me therefore call on all well-meaning and wealthy Igbos abroad to come home and help us. As a government, we are doing our honest best within available financial resources to make life better for our people. But we cannot achieve much unless you come to assist us, and the time is now. Any nation without a vibrant middle class can never make any headway. This is why it has become imperative for all of us to make effort to eliminate the present situation where many able-bodied youths engage in street trading and other demeaning activities. Our own strategy as a government is to arrest the ugly situation, to make education free and qualitative, offer scholarships to indigent students, rebuild dilapidated schools, and motivate our teachers. This effort has begun bearing fruits as more youths have enrolled in schools to further their education. Similarly, we have established wealth creation schemes to provide employment to our youths and make them self-independent. Those of you who live in America should start thinking home. America, as today, is undergoing some financial difficulties. Lowering or raising interest rates, as is the case at several times by the Federal Reserve, is a sign of distress. Many of you may not know The U.S. trade deficit for 2006 alone was estimated at $420 billion. What this means is that America will be consuming $420 million more than it was able to produce. And that is why you have to focus and think home. There's no other place better than home where you have to invest, and the investment will be very free. In Abia State, we have set machinery in motion to create jobs for the youths and enhance general living conditions of our people. Within the past 16 months, we have demonstrated in concrete terms an unusual commitment aimed of changing the lives of our people for better. Apart from putting in place quality infrastructure for the uplift of our people, we have ensured the security of lives and properties. Within the last 1 year, our government has donated more than 50 patrol vans to the police and other security formations in Abia State. We have secured the siting of a new mobile police squadron at Abia to cater for the security needs of that region. We have instituted a reward system whereby all those who come to our dedicated information office with credible information leading to the apprehension of criminal elements receive an instant cash reward of 1 million naira. In addition, we have our local vigilante group backed by law, and they are working in concert with the police to ensure adequate security. These are measures we have put in place to curtail the menace of criminals. And just about a few weeks ago, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Michael Kiro, was in Oman, where he endorsed our security response measures. We have worked out partnership with the police and other security agencies to make our state safer and more conducive for investment. Suffice it to say that the challenges posed by the need to protect lives and properties have become increasingly taxing, but we are equal to the task. There is no way we can compromise the security of lives and properties when, in essence, we have promised during the electionary campaign in 2007 to make it the centerpiece of our overall developmental plan. We attained the enviable height we have reached so far through a sustained and diligent approach to policing our environment to make it difficult for unwanted persons to terrorize our people. I am aware of the challenges posed by these activities of kidnappers and assassins who have of recent suddenly made an inroad into our states. We have, through our well-structured security network, curtailed the activities of these hoodlums to make our state safer and more habitable. With the arrangements we have put in place, these social misfits will be totally flushed out very soon. Let me reassure the people. That very soon, our state and all those who do not wish to do business with us, who are wavering, will now come to live with us and do business. We have also worked in partnership with some organizations and individuals abroad to attract investment in the areas of education, health, and industrialization. Many more have shown continued interest to partner with us to bring more development to our people. These partnerships are really working, and we seize this opportunity to appeal to all those still interested to approach us for a deal. We assure you of an agreeable environment to do your business. Our orientation as a people should be to learn how to be rich and teach others to be rich also. If you are rich and your riches do not affect others positively, then your wealth is misplaced. We must learn to be our brother's keepers and carry on one another's burden in prayer. The motto of the Igbo nation is Onyagala Nwanne. This should be observed indeed and in practice and in our action also. We should also imbibe the culture of remaining together or else becoming a target. Sticking together and working together for the good of Igbo land is the best panacea for growth and development. This unity has cost us much as a people, we should not also forget that a small leak can sink a ship. You should not fear to invest simply for the fact that it is a risky venture. When anyone says investing is risky, what the person is saying is that he is not ready to invest. Those who engage in combat know that combat is the ultimate test of will and training. Once our attitudes and thoughts change, then our actions will change, and the result will start forming in. Do not be gullible to most of the negative, fictitious, and fabricated stories dished out to you on the internet by unpatriotic elements at home. Those are people who do not wish you well. Those are the people who do not want you to come home and compete with them. Take steps to verify news and stories you hear from home, and you will see that what you heard is far from the truth. I also urge you to make a time periodically to come home and see for yourself what is going on at home. And when you cannot, and if you cannot come home, seek out those who have come home recently and get more authentic information from them rather than relying on these jaundiced accounts of disgruntled elements. In conclusion, permit me to point out that as a further proof of our commitment to the ideals of the World Igbo Congress and in a bid to drive home the message of the need for you to return home and invest, the government of Abia State is fully represented at the World Igbo Congress Convention 2008 here in Abia. In our delegation, you will find state legislators, commissioners who are handling sensitive ministries, special advisors, special assistants, local government chairmen, businessmen, from the academia they are here, traditional rulers, and indeed all segments of the Abia State are represented here. The idea is, if there's any inquiry you want, as far as Abia State is concerned, there's someone here from that sector whom you will get that information. That is why we are interested in your progress and development. Last year, I was here with my lovely wife and my wonderful children. This year, I am also here with my lovely wife, my only daughter, and one of my twin children. What other proof do you need that we are fully committed to World Igbo Congress? I am not unaware of some of the problems encountered in the organization of the World Igbo Congress. But which organization does not have its own problem? I assure you that it is not easy to organize people. That you have rancor amongst you is a sign that World Igbo Congress is an organization with values. My people, nobody struggles for a worthless item. All I implore you is to find amicable ways of resolving your issues whenever they arise, so that outsiders will not ridicule us. Today, early for us to make amends and embrace the new Igbo spirit that is geared towards economic activism, social renewal, and change in attitude. I look forward with immense optimism to welcoming you soon to our state as partners for the progress of Igbo land. It is yet morning in Igbo land. I have no doubt that brighter days are with us in the future. I hear the sound of the abundance of rain. Let us remain determined, resolute, and focused, and even the heavens will hasten to actualize our wishes. Ali Igbo ga-aga n'ihu. Ọ ga-adịrị Ali Igbo na mma. And for the government of Abia State to show appreciation for what the World Igbo Congress is doing, the government is donating the sum of 2.5 million. The World Igbo Congress, we will translate that it comes to $20,000. I thank you for listening and may God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up! Put your hands together for Agenda Dimo, His Excellency Chief Dr. Orji. Agenda Dimo, Igade, Ezigbo mmadụ. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Let me tell you something. A few minutes ago, in the face of the X we had in the course of this convention, the chairman of World Igbo Congress was doing everything but smiling. Now I can see him smile. We appreciate you, Agenda. We appreciate you. We appreciate all of you. The question is not whether your commitment to World Igbo Congress is a matter of public record. I think the question is whether we can continue to earn your respect. And we promise you that we will do our best. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let me use this opportunity while the paparazzi are snapping. More than welcome to do that. Let me acknowledge the presence of some dignitaries, great sons of You're welcome. Let's go, madam. Thank you. Also, because let me use this opportunity also and acknowledge the presence of the chairman of Southeast Forum of Ndeze, because His Royal Majesty is the IPO East. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Because there is also another distinguished brother in our midst whom I must acknowledge. Chief Atarineja Cholono. And also because Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Nisuche, is in the house. One of our panelists today on the issue of great importance. security of lives and property of Igbo in Nigeria, with special emphasis on the Abia 6 massacre. Also in our midst, of course, is Honorable Imokocha Onyamakebo, Professor Joshua Bonaya, one of our great panelists also on the Education Committee, our own Professor Abia Chalon, also one of our panelists, Chief Mrs. Ebere Agwechiama, Unukoranaka. Because I will continue to acknowledge our dignitaries as they come in. I want to, because it's a Mwanya with a message for us, but before we get to that, because one of our sons prepared an entertainment for His Excellency and also for Ezilo Mwanya and also His Excellency Zemwa and all the distinguished guests in Nigeria here. Good morning, I am Wapano.
Professor,